last question of the evening. I know you've been waiting. It's like, how long is this going to last? So, what has DAEDF done to assist your company?
Earlier, I talked about being flexible and the peaks and valleys of our oil and gas sector, and we have to be very flexible. And I tell you, every time that we get a concerned call, and it's very appreciated about how can we help, and that's very refreshing to get that call. And we've been helped with job fairs, getting when things are picking back up, and how can we get folks in as quickly as possible. And on the downside, how can we help manage the employees that were impacted, and how to get things going their way as quickly as humanly possible. On the upside, again, we tend to respond very quickly, and we may need some property and some inside storage and things like that. Multiple times, you guys have been able to help us out with that, and very, very responsive. So that's and again, the intern, you know, that came from just a phone call we got and just talked about it, and now it's happening. So those are just a few examples.
And one more that I can throw out is 2nd Street turnoff.
Absolutely. We put in a new gate because of the activity at the facility, and there was again, we're all about safety. We want to make sure the traffic was safe, and you guys really did a great job coordinating that for us.
Amber?
Well, shortly after the incident where I lost my stove and my microwave, we moved in to kind of a makeshift area. It was really the bathroom break area of the building, the old Wilco building. In fact, about 25% of our storage was the men's bathroom. So I figured we didn't need that many bathrooms, so we kind of put saran wrap over the toilets, and nobody was allowed to use the men's. We all had to use the women's bathroom. DAEDF came in and they painted the floors, and they put a sink, they put a stove that I still have. There was vent hoods. I think we needed some extra wiring because all of my equipment sucked a little more power. And then after all that, it was help moving into the new building that we have and painting the floor for us and making it a real bright, pretty facility. So they've been immensely helpful. Like, I don't know where we would be without them helpful.
Yeah, and you know, the thing is, what you have to recognize is that you spent 1 year inside the incubator facilities, or what we have or had available to you, and that's a pretty fast turn to go from 900 feet to 6,500. And when we and here's, just so everybody knows this, and you can verify this, but when you were ready to move out, where did we send you to look?
Oh, the new buildings.
Other buildings. So I mean, it wasn't just our building. We looked around the community.
Yeah, and that's some stuff on Main Street everywhere. And at first I was like, that's just a little big. Those buildings are so big, we don't need that. You know, coming from 900 square feet. But we've been in there 6 months now, and it's pretty packed. So, look at that.
So, it's been 19 years ago when Family Dollar moved in, and DAEDF was a big part of that. They, the story I got from the CEO, the founder's son, when he came down, was that Oklahoma beat out Texas in many ways, and a big part of that was through DAEDF and the Duncan area. So through incentives and things like that. Since then, they've been out to celebrate our 15th year. They've always, every time I see Lyle, what can I do? Every time I see him, what can I do? And we do our own in-house training, things like that through Family Dollar, so we can't take that opportunity there. But I'm sure with our big challenge coming up that there will be something that you can do, Lyle.
Gladly.
I guess when we first got started, we had an idea, but we didn't have a home. And as we started to raise capital and kind of figured out this thing was really going to happen, there were several communities that really wanted us to go their direction. Atlanta was one of them. And But I think what really made the difference for us is that, DAEDF had a building, and that building fit our needs perfectly. And so what it did is, from a business development perspective and a cash or a capital perspective, that was something we didn't have to go raise. They were willing to lease that building to us. And so it really was a really deciding factor. I mean, the logistics work here and a lot of other things worked, but for DAEDF to have a building, that made so much sense for us from just an equity position and a going forward, funding position. And then from doing job fairs, like I think Mike talked about, job fairs, connections within the community. I just think for us, DAEDF has been a great partner, not only for where we are today, but we've had some things that we're moving into that we're going to need more facilities, and we're going to need more job fairs. We've already talked to Jeannie a little bit today about doing another job fair. So I think DAEDF, for us, and the way I see it, it's really a way to partner with the community through a single focus point, right? You don't know exactly what you need until Lyle comes along, and an hour later you know everything that DAEDF can do, and now he's uncovered several needs that you have. So I really appreciate his enthusiasm and his passion, because I bring enthusiasm to what I do every day. I can't help it. That's just how I'm wired. And when Lyle and I get together, my two partners tend to leave the room because we kind of take all the air. But I really do appreciate Jeannie and Nicole and what Lyle do, because they really, really are progressive and active thinkers. I'm creative and I'm very impatient. My wife will tell you I was born without a patience gene. I can act like I have patience, but I don't really have it. And I just think it's really interesting that I've done a lot of things in a lot of different places, but I've never met and been around an organization like DAEDF. They really do, they're very effective in providing assistance, and we appreciate that quite a bit.
I'm not sure everybody can appreciate this next one, but one of the main things that DAEDF allowed us to do was have a blue floor back in our shop, and then I think Shabby Chick followed suit with
We
that.
copied them.
Okay, I get the opportunity to speak on that behalf. One thing I do want you to talk about, Chad, is when you started looking around the community a bit. But I gave them an option on the floor of which shade of gray do you want, and Randy said, no, this is what color we want, and it is a very bright blue. And it's really, I think that the reason that Shabby Chick also, when they took a tour and went through and saw how blue this is, and when I talk about blue, it's about the same color as our DAEDF logo. Okay, that's on their floor. Looks like you've stepped into the water, but it's a lifting color. And I think that's the reason Shabby Chick liked it. I think that when they're working with their clients and customers, it's a color that helps motivate people. And so, but do talk about when we start. I'd like for you to tell the story about how you kicked a guy out of my building.
Okay, I do like that. So again, I want to give credit to Greg Shepard, who actually is the one that I think ended up putting us in contact with DAEDF, with Lyle. And also want to appreciate poor Nicole and Jeannie for putting up with a ton of questions and things that I ask and bobble on about. And pay tribute to Lyle for being my personal business development manager as well, and bringing tons of people through my facility, which I'm greatly appreciative of, and exposing us to a lot of different folks in the community. But Greg Shepard had gotten a hold of Lyle, and both Randy and Brandy and myself, we were looking at trying to push down towards the hospital and be in that kind of around that medical community. Greg said, well, I think you guys really should talk to Lyle and look at this, facility up here and look at what this program can potentially do for you. And I think Randy had shot me a picture, and he said, well, here's this, but it's, and dropped a pin on it in the map. And I'm like, oh my God, what are you thinking? That thing is so far out. Well, the reality of it is, and again, being my ignorance, I think, and maybe Randy's not ignorant, but we were thinking you have to be in that medical community. You've got to be that. The reality of it is most of our patients are either national, international, and then, 9 minutes down Highway 81 is as far as you got to drive to me. So, again, my mentality was Oklahoma City, and it's 30, 45 minutes in rush hour traffic. And, traffic does get pretty bad here. It might take you a whole extra minute to make it through the 3 lights or something. But again, it's that mindset, and again, I don't want to track, but the community is awesome, so don't think that I'm poking fun. It's great not to have traffic and deal with a 45-minute commute to drive 10 miles. So, and I'm sorry, Lyle. See, I'm like a squirrel. I get cast off in different directions. What was I focusing on?
When you kicked Dixon out of the building.
So Lyle says, okay, well, there's currently a tenant in here, and we can meet with him and see if there's an opportunity to kind of house you guys together. And so, we got to do a tour of the facility, and poor Dixon Harper wasn't even in the building, and I'm like, oh, we got to have this building, and he's going to get out. So he said, well, I'll tell you what, we'll sit down and have a meeting with, and hopefully I'm not violating anything by saying his name, but so Dixon sits down at the table, and Lyle's being very cordial and very professional and trying to keep it, and so I just looked at Dixon and I said, I think we're going to need you to get out of the building. So that was like 1 minute into the conversation. So you had to be there. It was much more shocking than that when it happened. So. Oh, anything else, sir? I'm sorry. Well, I will say, no, so again, I'll go back to Lyle being my business development manager, and he does such a good job. I've started to, if you'll notice, my hair is starting to turn up. I've got the gray going, so I'm trying to replicate his style. It works, and I want to be a part of it. I'm done now.
Oh gosh, this has been enjoyable. So I hope that each and every one of you have kind of learned something new about the companies that we have in our community. That you're as proud as I am of our business community and what they represent, what they do, what they bring to the table, as what the DAEDF team is. I mean, this is what makes it fun for us. Sometimes everybody says, well, where's the new company? Well, we've got some new companies. We got some that we grow. But, at the same time, we also have to take care of our existing customer base. There's a lot of growth that does occur when you take care of their needs. And it's much easier for us to recruit a business when these guys are happy. And when they can tell the story, it makes it a lot easier. So let's give a round of applause to our 5 businesses that were here. Our job is to help them day in, day out. Sometimes we don't know what those are going to be. That's probably the most unique thing about working in DAEDF. Not every day is the same for us. And what we always want to be able to do is grow and develop, help them through their struggles, help them with their challenges, and make life easier. Because, while as I look up here, we kind of are, at least, I guess, of the 5, we're a property manager for 4 of the folks that are sitting up here. So, we've got 1010 Highway 7, which is, you've got stuff stored in that, which is the old the Hager building. And I think the rest of them are in either a lab building or DR2's got their own building. But they're great folks. Anything we can help you guys do as you continue to move forward and expand and grow and add jobs, we're here for you. Thank you.